him as a 4-time Stanley Cup winner.
And he's always contributing, too. He's always there. And he's such a great guy, too, on and off the ice. He's so respectable, and I really want the Penguins to get him back.
Yeah, you know him very well.
You can see it, too. I mean, because if they're looking just for another forward to add with the Penguins, and obviously they have a great relationship with Kunitz. Yeah. It's only been a year without him, right? It was just 1 year, so totally I could see a reunion.
And, like, Chris Kunitz was, with all the players the Penguins lost last season, Chris Kunitz was the one that I missed the most. I didn't really care about Nick Bonino. I not really care about Matt Cullen, but Chris Kunitz.
Wait, not Fleury?
Well, obviously Fleury.
Oh,
obviously.
okay.
But him and Chris Kunitz.
I thought you were just swapped with an alien or something.
No. Him and Chris Kunitz I missed the most.
I feel like that, though, when you look at, with Fleury, like, he was lost in the expansion draft. Yeah. I feel like she was more talking about people that, like, lost in free agency, right?
Okay, no, I just misunderstood, that's all. So, let's get to baseball because there's some breaking Mets news. They have finally DFA'd not Jose Reyes, but Hansel Robles.
About time.
You know what? I'll take it if I'm a Met fan. They're finally moving on from someone, I'll tell you that.
I can tell you this. All the Mets fans are happy because I see all over Twitter. I said this once before, but his initials are HR, and that's something he gives up every time he pitches.
Somewhere out there, Joe Beningo is celebrating harder than anything you'd think the Mets won a World Series.
So we're going to do things a little bit differently here. Instead of previewing the upcoming series of both New York teams, we're going to expand upon why the biggest rumors surrounding them both, Jacob deGrom being traded to the Yankees, won't happen. Nick, since this was your excellent idea, great job, buddy.
Thank you.
Take it away.
So, sure thing. So, first of all, a couple of things to begin. I wanted to do this because, admittedly, I realized I was walking around saying things like, the Mets will get burned in a Yankee trade anytime, and really had no historical precedent for why I was saying it. And
I'm sure you appreciated what I texted you.
And I did, actually, but hold on. So, first of all, we were talking about it, and as we were talking about it, you and I were struggling trying to think of Yankee-Mets trades because they are so few and far between. There's only been 15 trades between the two teams in their existence, or coexistence, I should say. So in April of this year, the Mets and Yanks made a trade for Kendall Coleman and Lee Mazzilli. Coleman was a Met, Mazzilli a Yanks, and they swapped them. That's only the 15th time it's happened. So I won't bore you guys with all 15 of the trades, but I will bring up three major ones, the three ones that I think are big. And I'm going to ask you a question at the end, and you tell me, because it doesn't seem like one team's getting over on the other. That's the thing that gets me about this whole Mets-Yankees thing. They won't trade because the Mets will get burned. There's no precedent for that. So here's the first thing I got is the 92 trade of reliever Tim Burke at the end of his career to the Yankees, who finished up his year with the Yankees, post-trade nicely, and retired that season. Dealt for pitcher Lee Getterman, who had a terrible season, but he left the Mets system right after that. Nobody got over on the other in that trade. It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Next one. The big one everybody knows about is the David Justice deal that sent Justice to the Mets for Robin Ventura to the Yankees in 2001. And after this trade, the Mets flipped Justice, I think, a week later for Mark Guthrie, who was good for the Mets in 2002, and Tyler Yates, who never really panned out, and Robin Ventura wasn't good for the Yankees. So if anyone, the Mets won that trade.
Yeah. I never liked Ventura.
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't hate him. I thought he was a good player.
I just never, ever liked him growing up. Because he was third baseman for the Yankees when I first really started getting into baseball. It wasn't Brocious, it was Ventura.
Yeah.
But what's the third one?
The other one was a relatively notable one. So after the 86 World Series, their starting shortstop, Rafael Santana, was sent to the Yankees for a host of players, including Phil Lombardi, Darren Reed, both of whom didn't have any real success, and Steve Frey. If you've never heard of any of them, it's okay, because none of them really panned out at all. But Santana was nothing more than just a utility guy for the Yankees. So what I'm trying to say in all of that is there is no precedent. All the other trades are either non-consequential, don't even bother bringing them up because nobody's going to know who they are anyway, or nobody really got over on the other. So where does this idea that the Mets are going to get burned by the Yankees in a trade come from? I just think it's something that's been burned into Mets fans' heads because of free agency, not trades.
Bingo.
David Cohn was a free agent signing. Dwight Gooden was a free agent signing. Yeah. These are guys, Darryl Strawberry, these are guys the Mets gave up on willingly who went and had success with the Yankees. It wasn't because they had the Mets traded are bad at trading and they know they'll get burned. It has nothing to do with that.
Well, I think a big part of it is the Yankees and Mets have, and Nick, by the way, great job.
Thank you.
The Yankees and Mets have a big brother, little brother relationship, and it's not a functional one.
No, not at all.
It's a dysfunctional one. The Yankees are the big brother, and the Mets are the little brother, and they hate each other. So they're not going to do anything to help the other one win. Jacob deGrom going to the Yankees pushes them over the edge. They become even more World Series favorites than they already are.
Which is why the Mets are asking for so much from the Yankees, because they know that's the only way that they're going to be okay with trading deGrom to the Yankees, because they know how successful he's going to be. He's been very good on the Mets, which just hasn't gotten the wins, obviously. He doesn't have a supporting cast.
No run support.
With the New York Yankees, he will have a great supporting cast, and he'll be killing it there. That's why they're asking for so much. You know, I was actually just talking to my friend about this last night, and he was saying how, like, you know, he finds it ridiculous that the Mets are asking for so much. But the reason why they're asking for so much is because they know they have to get that much in return for them to be okay as a franchise, seeing, again, you know, on the newspaper, deGrom killing it with the Yankees, all that stuff. That's why they're asking for Gleyber Torres and whatever else they're asking for. It's a reach. It's not going to happen, but I'm saying that's why they're asking for so much.
And there's another side to this as well, and I think it's the most interesting side. The Yankees have to agree to a trade too.
Yeah.
And I get this sense, and Eric especially, because another thing I want to pick your brain about, but I get this sense that the Yankees, based on the last 15 years of injury history within the Mets organization, honestly could be stalling a deal as well. Not just the Mets being, and what you told me your dad said, that the Mets won't give up the back page to the Yankees, I think is 100%, but it's more has to do with the social media aspect. It's right there in your face.
Exactly.
They'll get killed, hammered. But I think the Yankees are part of this too. I don't think they trust deGrom can stay healthy. He has already had injury history, and the Mets are notorious.
Very extensive.
Not very
crazy.
extensive.
I would understand the worry about, like, Syndergaard personally. Like,
yeah.
I also think the Mets should be trading Syndergaard instead. Not gonna lie, I think.
Well, they can't trade him now.
No.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But I'm just saying that, you know, it's definitely interesting to see what the Mets are going to be doing. But we just had a call from Kevin from Massapequa. He didn't want to come on, but he wanted me to ask you guys: would you accept if the Mets traded Steven Matz to the Yankees?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Geez, what do they
maybe.
want?
Matz is just so inconsistent. I know he's turned it around recently. Kevin, that's actually a very good question. The thing with Matz is I'm worried how much Callaway has to do with his success. Say what you want about Mickey Callaway as a manager, but the guy is an excellent pitching coach, and you're seeing it. Jacob deGrom was nothing like he is now under Collins. Same thing with Matt. Same thing with Gesellman. Same thing with Lugo. Callaway is pushing these guys to another level, and I'm worried that Matz is that same guy. Would you get something for Steven Matz? Absolutely, especially because he's a lefty. But if I'm the Yankees, if I'm trading with the Mets, the guy who I want most is the ace, the crown jewel, Jacob deGrom. And Nick, we both agree on this. We both value Chance Adams highly. We would do it.
Yeah, I would. For him, I would. For deGrom, and deGrom might be the only pitcher in baseball I do it for, short of Max Scherzer, who they'll never give up. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's tough. If the Yankees make the best offer for deGrom, would the Mets cut their nose to spite their face and take an inferior offer?
Here's the reason why I don't think that would happen on top of it. Number one, I think it's just pride on both sides, on both accounts, on both the Yankees and the Mets. If the Yankees give up certain prospects, because they're not going to give up starting players for Jacob deGrom, I just don't think that's going to happen, and they kill it with the Mets, I think that might come back to bite them, because you're going to have deGrom for less time than you would those prospects. But on top of that, if you're the Mets and you give up Jacob deGrom to the Yankees, it would probably kill you inside, especially if you're a Met fan, to see the Yankees win the World Series with having Jacob deGrom on their starting rotation.
But that doesn't hold water for me, because A, it helps the Yankees because in the meantime you might win 3 World Series in a row. That's how good the team would be with deGrom part of it. And B, even if that did happen, say 2 or 3 of those prospects panned out and the Yankees are responsible for building the Mets, you don't have to face them. You see them 6 times a year.
It's also that the Mets can't develop their prospects. We talk about how the Islanders can't develop prospects. The Mets can't develop prospects. So if they get someone like, let's say, Albert Abreu or Estevan Florial, someone in single A, really projectable guy.
Ira Estrada.
Estrada's in triple A, so he doesn't really fit he doesn't fit this example. I don't trust the Mets to develop him. So if I'm the Yankees, I'm saying, great, you can can take these high ceiling single A guys. You know, I have no problem with that. There's a part of me that would rather trade Abreu than Adams, to tell you the truth, because Abreu's going to be ready in 1 or 2 years. Adams is ready right now.
And he's still in AAA.
Yeah, and he's not doing that well in AAA.
Well, he was tearing it up. He's gone into a major slump, and he's been doing this up and down, up and down. So
I like Adams. But I think if I'm the Yankees, I don't want to trade any of them, but I would rather trade guys like Abreu and Florial because they're further away in their development.
I also, real quick, would think it would hurt Mets fans a lot more because they were so close to doing it with deGrom and Syndergaard at the top, and then you just see it.
They blew it.
They blew it, yeah.
So we got about a minute left. It's time for the bottom of the ninth. Dominic, we'll start with you.
There's two things I want to mention real quick. I want to talk about the NBA draft last night. I think Robert Williams might be the steal of the draft, falling all the way to 27 for the Boston Celtics. I think it's a perfect need for them to learn behind Al Horford.
Second to Porter, I agree with you.
And then also another one is One Jets Drive is a Facebook watch series that debuted on June 19th. I haven't personally checked it out yet, but I've only heard great things about it. So if you're a Jets fan, I definitely suggest checking it out. I'm definitely going to be watching it sometime this weekend.
Eric?
And mine goes out to the NHL. We talked about him a little bit before. Jeff Skinner, there's a possibility that he could be on the move. And a probable landing spot, the St. Louis Blues.
All right. I could see that
I've heard the Islanders, too. But
yeah,
I've heard the Islanders about everything. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to be honest.
They don't need a forward. They really don't. Nick?
I'm going to keep it with what we were talking about, but I'm going to just say one more thing that I think is actually kind of funny. None of the big pitchers that are projected to be traded, and some that we don't know about yet, have been moved. And I think the Mets unwittingly control the trade market because everyone wants to know who they'll get if they trade a guy like deGrom. So no one's
exactly.
moving.
They wait for the biggest domino to fall. Exactly. Eleanor?
So the Canadian Hockey League, which includes the Ontario Hockey League, Western Hockey League, and Quebec Major Junior League, is finally going back to allowing European goaltenders to be selected in the import draft. Hockey Canada banned this in 2013 to promote homegrown talent, but it has not worked. Canada is falling behind in the goaltender development.
Don Cherry must hate this.
Yes, it's a good decision.
So, not going to be here next week. I'll be in Las Vegas. You guys will have a lot of fun without me. I will be busy trying to recruit Nate Schmidt and Marc-Andre Fleury to the Islanders. All right. Thank you. Looks like we're about out of time here on Beyond the Game. For Dominic Arbolino, Eric Fischetti, Nick Ornberger, and Eleanor Chompy, I am Jacob Volk saying that the cops pick me up on a street at 3 a.m. and find me $500 for being drunk and $100 for being with the Mets.